breakdown. Always feel like I could break now, but I never let it take me to that place now. I won't ever let my thoughts get away now. I got better things to do, picking fate now. I just wanna be the best, call me great now. I don't know if I'm okay or insane now. I remember better days on the playground, hoping I can find my way to even when I'm feeling down. I fight, even when I don't know what is right. I'ma pick a side, and I'ma take pride. I will decide my fate, and I will never let them tell me who I am. If you try to shape me, I'll be damned. Planet on the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold. I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in the night inning. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the thing. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene. Out on stage, here I'm screaming, okay, it's a dream. And I pray as a team, one day it'll be me. If I want it, then I get it. Head down, don't regret it. Push myself to the limit. If I play it, then I win it. I'm just saying, I'm just living for today. For a minute, I don't stay, I just visit. Have no shame, I admit it. Looking right at me to see if I succeed, to see if I believe. They're looking up to me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now. Swear to God, man, I'ma make it soon. Silence all the haters as they see us making moves. I do what I want, so I got nothing to prove. Staying motivated, teaching others what to do. I'm staying focused, my mind is open. They start to notice that I'm in motion. There is no potion, you're not just chosen. It takes devotion to stay composed, man. Never stop, there ain't no time to fall. Try to live, get it up, you got one life to ball. Thinking big, never small, cause you gotta want it all. When you finally get that call, you get ready, take it on. Need a handout, I already stand out. Starting to advance now, ready to expand now. You don't have a chance now, cause we're in demand now. Make it by the grand now, feeling in command now. They're looking right at me to see if I succeed, to see if I believe. They're looking up to me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now. Yeah, you got me feeling numb. Girl, you got me shook from the way your body looks. Got me riding hooks, got me feeling like a rook. I don't do it by the book, but for you I'll take a look. Don't know what your mama took, sweet and spicy like a cook, yeah. I'll keep it real, let's make it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the NEXXTCAR Racing League, getting back in here for the podcast. This is something we have not done in quite some time, but hey, we're on iRacing. It's time to get back to the old ways and improve this league once again. And we are joined by four of our other captains. We got David Chandler up there in the top left. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, here for the ride. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. You got your Truck Series champion in Season 1, Matthew Erickson, top middle. What's going on, my man?
Hey, I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. And then in the bottom left, you got Matthew Tucker. Did not want to be on camera, but what's going on anyway?
Not much. What's up?
I'm good. And then, of course, our league owner, Nick Trudeau. What's up, buddy?
How you doing, bud?
I'm good, man. It feels good to be back in the podcast. You know, me, you, and Matt Tucker, we did quite a bit of podcasts back in the day, and it feels good to be back into it.
Yeah, it's been a while, and I like doing the podcast. We had some really good conversations, not just about our league, but football and NASCAR in general, and just a whole bunch of different topics that we touched upon last year. So it's been a while, and I know me and you have been super busy, and we've been talking about getting it back. And so I'm glad we're finally doing an episode here, and hopefully we can keep it going. I'll probably be in and out of the podcast, throughout the season, when I can. Life is pretty busy, but looking forward to doing these again.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to start it off here with Matt Tucker, your Cup Series champion last season. Matt, you got a lot to look forward to this season. What is it going to take for you to go back-to-back here?
Yeah, I think it was all just a learning experience for everybody. With most of us guys moved over from Heat to iRacing, so we didn't really know what to expect. But I think just found consistency throughout the whole year. Got some good battles with everybody, and got a couple wins in the beginning of the year. Then just rode top fives throughout the rest of the season. But yeah, just trying to keep learning. I think that's what everybody in here has done throughout the first season and trying to carry on to season 2. And I think the schedule is going to fit up. I think there's going to be a lot of good tracks. Matt Erickson's good at Daytona. David's usually competitive there as well. And I know Nick proved himself last year on the road course, and you as well. So it's just going to be being consistent. I think whoever stays out of trouble the most is going to end up probably being your champion for all 3 series.
Absolutely, yeah. Season 1 was all about learning, especially for us that we're just making that transition from Heat to iRacing. It's a completely different ball game over here. And, that was basically what Season 1 was a big learning opportunity and a big learning curve. And I'm looking forward to Season 2, seeing where everybody learned and all the returning people. And it's going to be interesting to see the rookies come in and adapt, just like the NEXXTCAR rookies did last season. And David, you were one of those rookies last season. In the first couple races of the season, you definitely stirred the pot with some people. But hey, once everyone learned everybody, and we all learned each other's racing, everything cleaned up.
Yeah, starting off being a rookie, you have a tendency to really want to prove yourself, especially around all these folks that have been racing together for so long. They know each other, they know how to race around each other, and I kind of get in the middle of that, not being the best, but not being the worst. So I'm usually in that middle point. And you have a tendency to ruffle some feathers when you are pushing so hard to prove yourself.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that we were looking forward to with bringing the teams back was, like you mentioned, you came in and me, Nick, Tucker, several others of us have raced with each other for years now. And you came in, you found yourself in the middle of it. And I think the biggest thing with these teams that me and Nick looked at was, we all came in, we continued to work with each other. Well, now you're being forced to work with other people. And I think that is going to help, eliminate some of that friction between people.
Yep, it's really going to open everyone up to different people and personalities, and they might really get some better insight in on how someone drives and how they can incorporate that into their own driving abilities. I see a lot of good coming out of it in the long run. I mean, look at Jimmy Emos in just our practice run. He was running up front like a good majority of that race, whereas last season, where he was probably racing all alone the entire time, he was struggling. I think that was proof alone of how good the team system can be.
Absolutely, and that's something that I myself and the rest of my team talked about during the practice session last night in the Cup Series. Was I think Jimmy's one of those guys that just needed someone to take him under their wing, guide him along, and get him up to speed. And like you said, in the Truck Series, practice he was good, and then obviously I wasn't there for the race, but several people mentioned to me just how improved he was, and that is absolutely amazing to see.
I mean, really, everyone across the board. I really wish he'd have been there for that race. It was such a good display of growth throughout the entire Truck Series. I don't know if maybe because it was practice and they're not trying as hard, but I mean, there were points where we were 4 wide and we were holding it. I mean, there was multiple laps where we'd go 3 wide, consistently, and everyone was doing such a good job getting hung out in the middle and have to hold their line and allow people go around them and not get antsy and try to jump in to place too soon. I was very impressed, and I think again a lot of that has to do with the teams.
Absolutely, and from the league side of things, I hope you guys do go 4 wide a lot. But from my point of view, I kind of hope you don't, because I'm going to lose my voice come Monday morning if you guys do. So definitely stuck in the middle there. But the other Matt, you mentioned consistency. Well, Erickson, you were one of the most consistent ones last year in the Truck Series, as you did grab that first championship.
Yeah, no, it was, just like David, I was a rookie. I came into it just looking for a group of guys to race with, have fun with, race clean, and that's, I got more out of it than I expected. I mean, it was a great season, and I even told my team in practice this last weekend is, you show up to all the races and you stay consistent, you got a chance at it. And Peyton wasn't even at all the races, and he ended up catching me and came down to the very last lap. But, if you can show up to every race and you can finish, consistency is key, like Matt said earlier. And that's what I was going for, and that's what I'm telling my team this year. And to David's point, that race Sunday was great. I mean, teamwork especially. You get 3 or 4 guys all working together. It was a vast difference from our first Daytona race last season.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I'm looking forward to, is seeing that improvement, because I'll be honest, that Daytona race, it was a low point of the league. It was rough to watch. It truly was. But, as the season progressed, it was amazing to see, everyone improved. The racing got better. I mean, the very next week at Auto Club was hands down one of the greatest races we had last season. You had 3 guys battling for the win there in the closing laps. There was only, I think, like 4 or 5 cautions the whole race, 200 laps. And that was just absolutely incredible battling all throughout the field. And it was awesome to see, and I cannot wait to see those improvements from people here in season 2.
Yeah, no, and I think it's just guys getting used to how other guys run and knowing, how aggressive you can get and when. And I think a lot of people learn that throughout the season. And I think that showed in this practice race we just did at Talladega. Is people were patient. They weren't quite as aggressive until it came down to it, and it got aggressive. And that's what you expect at a restrictor plate race, especially.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. So you're going to have some hungry people, no more than Peyton behind you this season. What's it going to take for you to go back-to-back this year?
Oh, it's going to take a lot. There's a lot of improved people and a lot of great drivers in this league, and all 3 leagues. And it's just, you hope to stay out of trouble, and you almost have to get a win. You almost have to get a win to even have a chance for a championship. But you got to keep those DNFs or low finishes off the records. Otherwise, people can run away from you pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Nick, Matt mentioned it at the road course. You were one of the guys that found yourself up there. Well, it came down to who made the least amount of mistakes, because you, Peyton, and Matt all seemed to make a lot of mistakes there in the closing laps, but you were the one to walk away with it there for your first win. And then I think you went back-to-back the next week, if I'm not mistaken. But walk us through how your season kind of went as you watched everyone else around you battle for that championship.
Yeah. So starting right off the bat, coming over to iRacing, I was first running off of a laptop that I had, and it was running the lobbies, that are in iRacing pretty okay, just the open ones, and then coming to the hosted one, for some reason it ran way slower, and I couldn't even see cars on track. It was pretty scary. So I took 2 weeks to get my things in order and got a PC, got that figured out. And missing those first 2 weeks killed the first season for me, unfortunately. And then first few weeks after that, coming back was pretty rough. We had a few rough races to start, and then we kind of found our groove there. Those 2 wins were really big. Getting 1 win in the series is big, let alone 2. So I was thrilled with getting those. A road course as my first win was a complete surprise, and Tuck fortunately choked that away, and so I'm grateful for that one. Yeah, a big lead, and I think he was running too hard. I was running my ass off trying to catch him, and then he had an issue, and luckily was able to catch him with just enough laps left. And then to go back to back and get another win at a plate style track at Atlanta was really big as well, for me. So 2 different style tracks, 2 different wins, and how I got them. It was really an incredible season for everyone, the league in general. But this season, I'm super hungry for another championship in trucks. From Heat, getting my 2 championships there. Now I got to come over here and get a few here. So now looking really strong, and getting some tips from some guys, and using some tools here and there to try to get better. So I'm going all in on both series for the championship.
Absolutely, and it all comes down to the team aspect. Like you said, learning, and there's Matt Erickson with this trophy. Gee, Tuck, you see what could happen if you had your camera on there, buddy.
Oh yeah, if only.
But yeah, I mean, that all boils down to the team aspect. Yeah, on his microwave. Yep. But it all boils down to the team aspect there. You mentioned it, learning from the other people, and and that's what we were hoping for at the teams. We just mentioned it, Jimmy Emos, in just the first race here in practice, 1,000 times different. And, that's just what we were hoping for. And, you're going to have those guys that are really, really good on iRacing, and you're going to have those guys that aren't so good. And it's going to be awesome to see those guys coach the other person to get to that level. And, you mentioned it, winning at road course is definitely not easy. You got Heat where you can hit the brakes as hard as you want, nothing's going to happen. Well, you come over here to iRacing, you got to worry about locking up the tires. You got to worry about that wheel hop. You got to worry about everything. You can't get back to the gas too soon. So, it is completely a 180 from what it was over on Heat. And I have yet to experience it, but I can't imagine just how different it feels winning over here in a league race than it did over on Heat. And I can't even imagine the championship aspect of it.
Yeah, it's a thrill. Like, I'm sure even you've won some open lobbies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've seen some of your wins, and just that first one on there, it's big. And then if you win in the league, like, it just validates, like, okay, I can run with these guys. I can run week in and week out. I can win any race, and there's really good guys in this league. And some weeks I'm like, I got nothing for him. And then there's some tracks where you go to and I might have something here. And it's some people are good at some tracks and some are good at others. So it's just trying to be consistent. Like Erickson said, it's just consistency is going to be really key. And we had that last year, and finishing, I think, 4th in the standings, and I missed 2 races. Just goes to show, like, we were there, we had the speed. It's just, running the whole season and being up there and hopefully being there when it counts and get some more wins.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with only 10 races in a season, you can't afford, a bad race or to miss a race, and you miss one race. I mean, unfortunately, Erickson, I know you're going to be missing Talladega here this week, but it all comes down to, it might have been the first race of the season, but that is what played the difference maker in you winning this championship last season. You and Peyton tied, but you got that win at Daytona to open up the season, and that is why you have that trophy sitting right in front of you.
Yeah, no, definitely. And just like Nick said, to get a win in the league, you're racing against these guys every single week. So you jump in an open lobby and you don't know who you're racing against, and you figure half the lobby is just garbage and you survive and maybe you win one. But when you're racing the same guys every week and you can get that win, I mean, it's a huge motivation kicker to get that. And when I got it, I mean, I wasn't expecting to get a win at all. And when I got it, it just, you're like, okay, maybe I can hang with these guys, like Nick said. And that's, I think, where the team aspect's really going to come into play, because there are guys, myself included, I'm not great on every track. I have my comfort tracks, my tracks I do good at, but I have my tracks that I struggle, and road courses are a big struggle. But I know I've got guys on my team that can run road courses. So it's just a learning, not even just to work with a group, but getting support and pointers and tips from other guys who maybe are good at tracks you're not, which then can improve your finish. And maybe you're not going to win, but if you can improve your finish and be there at the end, that's what you need throughout the whole season.
Absolutely. The other Matt Tucker. So you got that championship, last season in the Cup Series. You didn't win on heat, did you? You didn't get a championship, right?
No, Peyton won that.
Peyton won that last one. Okay.
That was when Toby passed me that last lap.
That's right. Yep. All right. Well, how does it feel to get that first championship out of the way now?
I mean, I didn't really get to celebrate it that much because I was gone that last week. But it's still an honor just because being the first season over here and just trying to get adapt. I mean, a little less than a year ago, this wasn't even in our plans. We were still planning on doing stuff over on heat. So when we were talking about the last podcast we were doing.
Yep.
But yeah, it's kind of like a heartwarming feeling just being with everybody. So kind of honored just to be able to be with everybody every Monday and Tuesday, or Sunday and Monday and now Tuesday. So good group of guys, and look forward to continuing this on throughout the years with all y'all.
Absolutely. David, we got our work cut out for us this season, buddy. Everyone around us is either champions or a race winner. Well, we got to get it figured out this season.
Yeah, man. We get some guys to kind of help us out, maybe give us some pointers. Maybe we get that last 10th that we need to be able to keep up with them. Because I noticed that quite a bit. I always seem to be just 3 or 4 cars away from that pole position and winning the race. But I can't get that last little 10th that I need. These guys are good. I mean, you got a heck of a group of guys that race each week, and they make it hard. They don't make it easy. They know all the tricks, and you really have to bring your A game to be up there in that top 3.
Absolutely. And, it's like everyone keeps saying, you got your strong tracks and you got your weak tracks. Well, that's racing. Everyone has that. The NASCAR drivers, they all have that, and it all comes down to working together in practice. And, we saw firsthand the practice with the teams, Sunday night and Monday night with the trucks and Cup. And then tonight, I believe we're doing some modified racing. Yep. But so we got to see a little bit of aspect. Nick, I know you weren't able to race, but I know you watched a little bit of my live streams. Go ahead and walk us through what you saw from the team aspect. How do you feel people work together, and where do you see some of the teams being able to improve a little bit?
Oh, teams is definitely going to make life hard, especially on the play tracks. With if you have good teammates around you and everyone's working together, that's all you can ask for. And watching the live stream, like there was some really good, pack racing. I didn't watch all of it. I was busy running around here and there, but from what I did see, in practice and some of the race, it's just overall good pack racing. Like David said, 3-4 wide. You can't get much better than that. So, and with working with teams, I know I wasn't able to run practice those 2 nights. So kind of behind the 8 ball there. And I'm hoping, me and my teammates can talk and hopefully just hop in there and, work with some other teams to stay up front and probably just hang out for the first, half of the race and see what we can do. But it's going to help throughout the whole season. It's going to help every person in this league get better, and the competition is just going to get crazier week in and week out. So it doesn't matter what track you're going to, whether it's plate or a short track. Any tip that you can get from your teammates is going to be helpful. Know what line to run at certain tracks, and if you have teammates that know how to save some tire and help you out there, and you're there at the end of the run, that's any little tip is going to be helpful to not only you but your whole team in general.
Absolutely. I mean, you got a pretty solid team there for the Truck Series. Obviously you got yourself, you got Christopher Thomas, stealing him from David. You got Jeff Taylor, Aaron Moore, Trenton Branson, and Randy O'Quinn. So, a couple rookies, but a couple returning veterans there. So it's going to be interesting to see, like we all talked about earlier, where do the rookies line up with the veterans and seeing them be able to step up it to the next level.
Yeah, I have a good mix of, some rookies, just looking at some of their numbers during draft night and, and then some veterans and people I know that run really well and hopefully can give me some pointers, or I can give them pointers on what I'm doing. And hopefully it'll just make us better racers and better team altogether. I think that's all we want, as not only for our team individually, but the league itself. We all want, really good racing, and we all want to run well together. So, we all have a good group of guys that, we do race hard, but we also show a lot of respect towards one another week in and week out. So that's all I can really ask for is, to have fun Sunday, Monday, and now Tuesdays with the modifieds. We all do it as a hobby and we love doing it. So might as well enjoy it with a group of guys that you like to hang out with. So
absolutely. Matt Tucker, you got a pretty solid team up there as well. You got Andrew Bolander, Toby Kelsey, Robert Babcock, Austin Schultz, and Dustin Slonacker.
Yeah, I mean, those top 3 guys you just named with Andrew, Toby, and Robert, we've all raced with each other over on Heat and good buddies. So glad to have those guys on the team. And then Austin, he's also another friend of mine. And then Dustin, he also ran well last year. So looking forward to the Truck Series. Gotta try to compete. I think you probably got the best team, Ronnie. So we're gonna try to take a swing at your team and just try to be competitive week in and week out.
Yeah, absolutely. It all comes down to that consistency aspect of everything. Erickson, you got a pretty mixed team here as well. You got Ronnie Norman, who did his first start last season. He got the win over there at Watkins Glen. Brandon Dunford, Cole Larson, Zach Brooks, and Nicholas Donfrancesco.
Yeah, no, I think HVAC Motorsports on the truck side, I think we're pretty strong. We had 4 of us in practice on that race on Sunday, and we ran together really well. And all 4 of us were there at the end, that last green, white checkered. So we worked well together. And, I raced Zach and Nick for that Daytona win that I got. So I know what they're capable of. And Brandon was fast when the races he ran. So I haven't seen Cole yet. I haven't raced with him. And yeah, like you said, Ronnie got that one win at the road course, which is awesome because we need road course guys.
Yeah.
So, But no, I'm looking forward to it. We had a great team outing last Sunday, and then we chatted for, man, almost 2 hours after the race, just as a team, and discussed different strategies and different weaknesses and strengths from each person. And it's going to be a fun season.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, it is. David, you got a pretty solid team as well. You got Robert Asong, who it seemed like every race he was out there competing for wins. You got Cade Sayer, John Turner, Stephen Henning, and Stoney Benfield. Maybe the top rookie in the series.
Yeah, if he shows, he's definitely going to bring it to him. I know Robert Song was a great pick. He was one of the lead in points. Same with John Turner. Well, not Robert Song, but, in the long run, if he'd have showed up all the time, he would have been. And Steve Henning's my road course guy. So he actually did really, really well on Canadian Tire. I thought he was actually going to be able to bring it home, but he needed to work out that tire saving strategy. If he could have pulled that off, he'd have been really good there. And as for the rest, I haven't really got a chance to run with anyone. No one showed up for the practice night, so I'm a little bit concerned there. Really hoping I didn't pick a bunch of guys that aren't going to show up weekly. But I do know that if they do show up every day, every week, then we're going to be up there in that top 3, guaranteed.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then I have Steve Bocock, Peyton Tulloch, Marshall Harris, Robert Guyard, and Andrew Zimmer. Like Matt said, I'm not trying to ring my own bell here, but I think my team has a pretty solid chance here, especially with Steve and Peyton. I mean, they're one of the ones that raced with us for many years, and, they know each other. Andrew Zimmer, I know he mentioned in the chat that he was an actual racer, so you can't go wrong with that, and then Robert Guyard and Marshall Harris, Marshall Harris signed up last season. He didn't race, I don't think, at all. So I'm in the same boat with you, David. I just kind of hope that him and Robert show up and make each race, and I'm sure if they do, they'll find themselves up there.
Back-to-back wins with Steve Bocock, man. Talk about going into the season strong. You have to be confident with that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Nick and Tucker can verify he was always one of the strongest ones at super speedways on heat. He might not have had the best race throughout the entire race, but when that white flag waved, he was either right in front of you or right in your rearview mirror at the chance to get that checkered. So he was definitely one of the top ones heading into next week for sure. And like you said, these back-to-back wins, just huge momentum, huge. And then,
I tried to bring a big run to you guys there at the end of that race, and it definitely showed that team aspect where you guys had, I believe, all 4 of you guys in a row, and so you guys were able to basically block everything that we had coming, and we had a whole head of steam coming towards you, but because you guys were so anchored together, there's really not much you can do about it. So I mean, you guys have a good team atmosphere going for y'all, and a solid start to kind of step into the season with.
Absolutely. And we were like that too last season with Tucker. It was the 4 of us. We absolutely controlled the Cup Series until I made that mistake. We won't talk about that, obviously, but but it's just, I don't know, it's just something that we all picked up immediately. We all kind of raced the same. Me and Steve and Peyton, we just kind of take things as they come, and it just played out perfectly once again. And like you said, Alberto was up there too, one of the rookies in Cup. He didn't have that strong race throughout the whole race. He was trapped 2 laps down for a while. I was as well, but we were able to come back and, like you said, come to the checkered flag. We were 1, 2, 3, and 4, So, yeah, huge momentum boost for everybody that showed up, honestly, because, like you said, the truck race was absolutely amazing. The Cup race was pretty good as well. A couple hiccups that, some people need to work out, but it's racing.
Those are hard to control. I'm not gonna lie. They're much faster, and the air coming off them is much tighter. So when you pop in and out of that bubble, it definitely disturbs the car a lot more than it does in the truck, where it's shooting out such a wider, area of dirty air. So I definitely feel like you can kind of come in and out behind the car and it be a little smoother versus the Cup cars. So I kind of expect that when we go into super speedway racing with the Cup cars specifically.
Oh, absolutely. The next gen Cup cars are an absolute beast. They truly are. They are an absolute monster. Like you said, they're tougher to control, and it takes a lot more to be able to drive them. It's not like, I'm not saying the trucks are easier, but they react more that you would expect them to. The next gen, honestly, you have no idea what is going to happen. Nick jumped in there and helped me a little bit during that practice. I was extremely loose coming off the corners, and I had no idea why. It's the next gen. You don't expect that, honestly. Down the backstretch, you're loose. It's just, you don't know what's going to happen, and the next gen just takes a lot to drive them.
There's a huge difference from the other night when we were in trucks going back to Cup. Whereas trucks, I felt really confident in my truck. I moved a couple cars, and I was fighting it the entire night. I was on edge. I never was able to actually sit back and feel comfortable the whole time on the ragged edge, afraid to lose it at any moment. But I mean, I guess that's the thrill of running those. You got the top notch of motorsports when it comes to oval racing in those cars. I would expect them to be more of a challenge. So.
Oh, absolutely. And like you said, on the edge, you got to make those moves. You got to make those quick right-hand blocks or those left-hand blocks where you got to be careful with it because you might turn yourself around.
One thing about these next-gen cars, you have to be solely focused with your focus in the truck series. You can kind of like lose lack, but you can still like maintain your car. But if you lose one grip of focus in the next-gen, you're going to be getting your back end of the wall. I think we figured that all out when we did that Phoenix Legacy Marathon back in the beginning of the year, that we were going to have to do something about it. But yeah, just trying to keep everything in line and focus. And I think the next gen series is going to be a lot better this year, I think.
Yep. And our solution to that race was take it off the schedule. That was our solution.
We got it back. We got Phoenix back.
Not Legacy though. Yeah, not the Legacy. No. You got the new one with the bootleg. So that's gonna throw in a whole nother situation.
That practice session is gonna be really interesting.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and talk about our schedule coming up here. Let's start it off with the truck series. You got obviously the opening race of Talladega, then Auto Club. We mentioned it earlier. Hands down, one of the best races all season long last year. Then you got Phoenix, the updated one. Then Lucas Oil, Bristol, Canadian Tire going back there. Hopefully it's not as foggy as it was the last time y'all were there. Then the Atlanta Super Speedway. Nashville Fairgrounds making its appearance here for the Truck Series. Kansas, and then closing it all out at another NASCAR Classic track, Rockingham. Nick, walk us through the schedule here.
Yeah, so we brought back a lot of the same tracks, just money-wise for everyone. You got to buy all the tracks, so that was part of it. But there are some updates, with the new Phoenix. And I wanted to Canadian Tire was obviously a good race for me, so I wanted to bring it back, but it was either that or Road America. But Canadian Tire was a lot of fun, and I think going back there a second time for most of these tracks, I think will help people out in the racing in general. I think just giving people that opportunity to come back to the track another time and get another race under them there, I think would be helpful. Nashville Fairgrounds, I've already done some testing there, and that is going to be a crazy race. I was thinking, it might be like Lucas Oil, but it's not at all. It's I was getting some frustration during testing there the other night. I did not like how the truck felt. There is some big bumps on the bottom of that track, and it will get you loose coming off the corner. So it is going to be very tricky track. I think it's going to be a lot of tire saving for the long run, and I think it's going to create some good racing, truck getting loose, and people getting squirrely. So it should be interesting. And then going back to Rockingham, or going to Rockingham this season, I think it's just a classic track. We had North Wilkesboro this season, so to bring back another track, I think would be really cool. And they've always had it seemed like great racing there. So looking forward to that and seeing how it drives. I haven't raced there yet, so we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned it. Going back to the tracks that we did this year, and it all goes back to the improvements. It's going to be awesome to see, who learned from last season and what, at the tracks, and then going into it again this season. The racing should be a lot better, and it's going to be awesome to see those improvements.
Yeah, not only just going back and learning some things from running all last season, but that another aspect is this time we have teams going around, so it's going to be a world of difference to have some teammates and going back to the track another time and seeing what people can do there and people giving each other pointers and hopefully finish better. I have a feeling this season's going to be super tough and very challenging to even finish in the top 5. We have that many good guys, and it's going to be a challenge week in and week out to even get a win. So,
absolutely. Moving on to the Cup Series. You've got Talladega, Auto Club, Phoenix, and then Dover making its return in week 4. Bristol going back to Watkins Glen for the road course this season. Back to Atlanta Super Speedway. And then week 8, we're going back to North Wilkesboro. 9 is at Kansas, and then closing it all out at Rockingham. And then your short track series, the NASCAR Wheel and Modified, starting it all off at Stafford Speedway next Tuesday. And then Lucas Oil Speedway for week 2, going back to Nashville, then Bristol, then South Boston, USA International Speedway, Thompson Speedway, Lanier Speedway, Southern National, and then ending it at North Wilkesboro, exactly where the Trucks and Cup ended it last season. So, last couple minutes here, guys. Let's go ahead and walk us through what you think the biggest highlights are going to be in this upcoming season. Start us off, David.
That's going to be a really hard one. I know going back to Atlanta is going to be pretty exciting. We got some really good racing out of there, which I honestly thought was going to be a bit more chaotic than Daytona. It ended up being a lot better racing than I thought it was going to be. Now, for the Cup side, Rockingham. Oh my gosh! If you guys haven't raced Rockingham yet, I haven't done them in the Cup cars, but I have done them in the 87s. Absolute brutal track. It's incredibly hard. It's very bumpy. It's going to take a lot of focus to really bring home good lap times on that track without running up into that wall. You tend to drift up those banks on the corners pretty far and often, at least in my sake. And then for our short track series, man, North Wilkesboro. That's going to be super exciting. It put on great racing with the trucks and the Cup cars. I can only imagine doing it with with the smaller package in the modifieds. I think I should bring out some really good racing as well.
Absolutely. Erickson, what you got?
Yeah, I think, I kind of echo what Nick said. With the teamwork that we have this year and going back to some of these tracks, I think for sure you're going to see new first-time winners, even some rookies. I think we got some really good rookies this year. And even the guys that are working on teams that now have somebody to work with, that's going to make a whole difference in how these races finish up. And, the similar tracks, people can improve, people can adjust. But I think really the teamwork and the teams is going to have a big outcome on this. And just watching the points, I think you're going to see a lot of different points leaders throughout the season just because of the way the teams are going to shake out. And to get a top 5, like Nick said, not only are you racing everybody else, you're racing teams as well. So you get teams grouped up there. I think David mentioned it earlier. You can't do a lot when you got 4 teammates in front of you and none of them are going to let you by. So it's definitely going to be, a more team format type approach to it. And I told my team, we're racing for 2 championships. You're racing for the drivers championship, plus you're also racing for the team championship. So, consistency counts on both. And you're going to have guys that can help you get a win potentially, or you're going to have guys that are at least going to get you up front to finish in the top 5. And that's what it's going to take.
Absolutely. Tucker, what do you think the highlight of the season is going to be?
Yeah, I think probably for the truck series side, it's going to be that early to mid part of the season at Phoenix and IRP, then Bristol. Those are 3 technical short tracks, and that's going to be the season setting stone. Trying trying to see who's going to be leading the points. And then over on the Cup side, I mean, you got a good mix, but I feel like that last stretch with North Wilkesboro, Kansas, and Rockingham, you're gonna probably find out who your eventual champion is. You have all the guys that are gonna be battling there at the end, and then Rockingham for the season finale is could be one probably crazy race.
Absolutely. Nick, what you got for your highlight?
Boy, I think Rockingham's going to be a great race for both series. So just talking truck, man, I think probably any of the short tracks in the truck will be a great race. Probably IRP again, but going back to the new config at Phoenix and the dog leg, I think would be crazy on restarts. I think that's going to be nuts. And then, man, there's a lot of good tracks that we're going back to. And North Wilkesboro in the Cup will be kind of crazy too. In Rockingham, but Auto Club, going back there again, like you said before, we had great racing there, and I think that was a must-have to go back and run there again. And I think just Kansas is a fun track, so there's a lot of good mix of tracks. I think any of the tracks can be a highlight reel type of race, so all depends how it goes. Atlanta was fantastic racing for both series last year, so that is on my list to hopefully win again this year. But yeah, I can't pick just one. I think any race can be insane and a highlight reel that you'll have to put on a Facebook page or your page or wherever you're gonna be watching it over and over. So modifieds, and to have it at North Wilkesboro is going to be nuts. Just how the racing was at trucks and with Cup last season, and knowing how much more grip these things have and how much power they got. I think it's going to be a really fun race to watch. But I think there's a lot of good tracks there too. You have Bristol on there, which that's going to be fast moving. Like, we've tested there, and those things are freaking hauling ass around there. So everyone's going to have to be on their toes at Bristol. Turns around on you quick, but it bottoms out there at Bristol pretty good. So you got to be careful and let the tire pressures come up, and then you're sitting okay. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great season for all three series. I'm very excited for where we're headed with all this. So, and I'm glad to have everyone a part of it.
Oh, absolutely. And everyone being part of it actually leads me into my first highlight. My first highlight's Talladega, especially for the truck series. We got 36 drivers signed up, which means we're going to be looking at about, I don't know, probably anywhere between 27 to 30 actually show up for the race. That is going to be one heck of a race to call from the booth, and that's going to be my big highlight for the truck series, honestly. 28 to 30 trucks out there on the track at Talladega, and a pack is going to be absolutely insane. Like David said, going 3-4 wide. That's going to be my biggest highlight from the booth is Talladega. The Cup side, probably going back to North Wilkesboro. On my personal stance, that was one of my best races all season long until I got taken out there in the closing laps. But that was one of the best races I had put together all season long. And then the short track, I don't know. It's hard to say because I've only ran a handful of those short tracks in the open lobbies, with the street stocks and stuff like that. Sobo's one of them, USA. The other tracks I don't really know a whole lot of besides North Wilkesboro. I don't know how Stafford or Five Flags or any of those are going to race. So we're going back into that learning curve that we just had last season. And that's going to be probably the highlight there is seeing how does everything improve from Stafford all the way to North Wilkesboro at the end of the season. Basically exactly how last season was for the Cup and truck. the racing improved tremendously from Daytona all the way to North Wilkesboro. How's it going to improve from the short series from, Stafford to North Wilkesboro? So those are my highlights this upcoming season. But guys, it was awesome to get back in here for the podcast. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out here and coming to join us. Erickson, I hope you have fun in Hawaii while the rest of us suffer in the rest of this cold and windy weather that we're all kind of experiencing right now.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. 2 days and we're out the door and 80-degree weather.
There you go. Wait. Don't get any better than that. I wish you'd take your PC and race right there on the beach.
Oh, I wish. That's the one race I didn't want to miss was Talladega, but it is what it is.
Absolutely. I'll miss a race any day of the year if it means. I'll miss a race any day of the season if that means I'm sitting in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not totally heartbroken about it, but it's one of my better tracks, but I got a great team, so team standings wise, I think we'll come out really well.
Absolutely. But I appreciate you guys being here, and welcome to the podcast. It's great to be back here.
Yeah,
thanks, Ronnie. Appreciate you having us.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. But that is going to conclude the Season 2, Episode 1's podcast here for the NEXXTCAR podcast in the NEXXTCAR Racing League. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Next Sunday, the Truck Series start off Season 2 at the High Banks of Talladega, followed Monday night by the Cup Series, and then short track racing NEXXTCAR style when the modifieds take to Stafford. It's going to be a heck of a season. It's going to be one you don't want to miss as Erickson shows you his trophy once again from Season 1. But that is going to do it here tonight for the NEXXTCAR podcast.